today in the studio we have Victoria Taylor, which recently started a new series about interviews and how to find one. So could you, Victoria, tell me what is interview and what's the show about?
Basically the show's going to be about different interview techniques, different styles, ways to do interviews, ways not to do them, how to set cameras up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so could you tell me about question types?
So there are 6 types of questions. It's open, closed, single, multiple and suggestive.
Okay, and could you tell me more about these?
So to start off, very simple. An open question is a question which can have any answer. A closed question would be a yes or a no answer.
Okay. So a closed question would be like, is it sunny today? And an open question would be like, what is the weather like today?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so could you tell me more about single and multiple questions?
So a multiple question would be, what did you have for dinner last night? Was it nice? Because there's more than one question in it.
Yeah.
And then a single question would be, what did you have for dinner?
Okay, I understand that. Okay, what about direct and suggestive? Is there a difference between them?
So a suggestive question is saying, the weather is so sunny today, don't you think? And then a direct question would be like, what's the weather like today?
I've also heard that in your first episode you're going to talk about the styles of the interviews and which one to use where. Could you tell me more about that?
So the first style I'm going to talk about is hard news. These are like the interviews you'll see in the news when there's been an incident or something, or there's a political debate. The interviewers will go out and interview people of the public and see what their opinions are on the matters.
Okay, so it's like when you watch the TV and you see someone being interviewed on a scene of a crime.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah, okay. I've also found out that there's a style called light-hearted. Could you tell me what that is?
A light-hearted interview would be an interview which doesn't get taken too seriously. So if there's a documentary, for example, just having a normal conversation like we are now, and you'd slip a question in so it doesn't look like you're having an interview. Yeah,
okay. So what type of interviews are when you see celebrities get interviewed by other people about the new books, albums?
So this would be like a promotional interview, so they're basically getting asked questions about their new books, tours, singles, anything, and the celebrity or whoever it is, for example, is giving information about dates, what songs are going to be on their album, for example, that kind of information.
So is there any different styles?
Another style of interview would be to investigate, which is quite obviously used when investigating something. So on a show like The Bill or something, or Watchdog, they get asked people questions to try and investigate what's going on and come to a conclusion.
What, like Jeremy Kyle, for example?
Yeah, Jeremy Kyle is a perfect example.
Okay. In your first episode you also touch about why is it good to have a good communication while you're interviewing. Is there really a specific reason why?
It's really important to have good communication skills because the way you portray yourself whilst interviewing people impacts the way the audience sees you. So if you're being nice and friendly when you're interviewing someone, the audience automatically think, oh, they must be having a really nice time. But if you're being straight to the point, really blunt and really horrible, the audience are not going to want to watch it and turn off.
So what do you think are important skills to have?
I feel there are quite a few important skills to have, but 2 of the main ones which I feel are important are to be an active listener and to show positive body language.
Why do you think body language is one of the most important things?
I feel if you're interviewing someone and you're sat and you're like slouched and you're not, just sitting back, not really paying attention, people are not going to think you're taking it seriously. But if you're sat up and you're communicating well with them and you're like interacting well, people are going to feel more comfortable sitting around you and making conversation.
Do you think being a good listener is also good because the person you're interviewing then says more about a specific subject because they feel like you're more interested in actually knowing what's going on?
If you're paying attention to what they're saying, you can relay the information they've said to you and you don't even feel
like you're actually interviewing, you just
the person automatically thinks, hang on, they're listening, I can
just
keep it going.
And you get more information from it. Okay.
Exactly. So now I want to kind of flip it round and ask you some questions, seeing as you're an interviewer and you think you know what you're doing.
Okay.
So what are some of the purposes of interviews?
Okay, so you can conduct an interview for a research enhancement to find out what's going on.
Yeah. Could you go into those in more detail for me?
Yeah, so it's important to conduct interviews when researching for something. So for example, if you was going for a new job, you would want to research about the company and maybe interview their employers just to find out what they think about the company, and then see if you want to carry on or not.
And what about the enhancement of an audience understanding?
Okay, so if you're running a show for something that isn't as known, let's say for the illness, and someone comes in that has the illness or had it before, you would want to research more about it and ask them questions that the audience might want to ask, so then the audience gets more informed about it and find out a little bit more, and then they can go online and research a bit more.
Yeah. So earlier on we spoke about purposes of interviews. Could you tell me more about that?
Okay, well there's different purposes for different interviews. You always have a purpose while you're interviewing someone. For example, informational, that's one of the purposes, when you want to gain information about a specific subject and then share it. So for example, if there's a TV channel that shows news, people will go and interview people about what's happening, let's say about around the world, and then put on TV, so it informs all the audience what's happening around the world.
So what about the purpose of an interpretive interview?
Yeah, that's another purpose. This is where an interview is produced to express or explain a situation that's been mentioned before. So there could be something on the news that has been mentioned that then people question and they want more about it. So we create a channel like Breakfast or the News, and people explain it and express what people think about it, if that makes sense.
So what about an accountability interview? Could you tell us something about that?
This is more of a harder interview when you're interviewing someone that something happened to them before. Let's say someone has died or there has been an illness, and it tends to touch the audience. So when you interview someone like that, you have to be careful with what you say and what you ask them, because some of the questions are really personal to them. So people would tend to interview people like that and put it on TV, so the audience finds out more about the character and the person they are, and how, like, if someone else has the same issue, they can see how that person dealt with it and what you can do and what help you can gain from it.